Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Amber Unfiltered. So today, I wanted to talk to you guys about another topic. So I saw this clip on IG. I don't remember what the girl's name is. I've never seen her before, but she was beautiful. And she made some really good points. I sent it to one of my friends because we were literally just talking about this yesterday. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what Black parents teach or do not teach their kids about dating and like intimacy and just like relationships, partners, and things like that. But before I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to cash at me at Amber Unfiltered Show, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, this brought up some things in me because I was like, dang, this lady is hitting the nail on the head. I don't remember everything that she said, I remember the vague gist. But basically, she was like, Black parents do not really teach their kids much about dating. It's kind of like one end of the extreme to the other. Like, and I was like, that was kind of my experience too. I was like, I don't remember much. I think my parents, I don't want to sit here and shit on my parents and say that they didn't teach me about dating. I wish they had shared more and I wish they had talked more and I wish I knew what questions to ask and I wish I knew how to express the things that I was dealing with. I think I went into dating very blind, very bushy-tailed and wide-eyed or doe-eyed. I definitely think that I felt like if I got a boyfriend, all my problems were solved, especially because my parents began to fight and you could kind of see the cracks in their marriage, unfortunately. And it kind of made me feel like because they had so much of their own shit going on that I kind of felt a little neglected. So I felt like, oh, if I get affection from an external source, I should be okay. And I definitely think I became a codependent as a result. I definitely was codependent. Like I felt like I was high, like high off of people, like the high of like when you first meet someone, like you're in euphoria, you're just like your head is in the clouds. Like I love that feeling. Like, and I was addicted to it for a very long time. And I couldn't be alone, if I'm being honest with you. Like I did not know how to be alone. I would even, I don't know if I was entirely male centered. Maybe I was, and maybe that's just how it manifested at that time. But I think it was more just like, could not stand to be alone. I think it was more of that. Would I be considered male centered? I'm not really sure, but I think it was, and it was like seeing my parents interact with each other. It was like, oh, I don't want that type of situation. I want something a little bit different. I want to cultivate my own shit. There were some things that I think that they did really well, and then some things I'm like, I would probably never do that. But watch, I probably am doing it in my marriage. I hear little bits and tidbits from like my dad and little tidbits from my mom. I'm like, damn, I really am turning it to my parents. But like, I think some of the stuff that she said really resonated with me. There was one thing in particular, she was talking about sex, how basically the birds and bees talk. I feel like a lot of the things that you learn, like adult things that you learn as a kid or are talked to by your adult parents as a kid, it's more of like a drive-by. It's like in passing. And also, I gotta go in like 20 minutes, y'all. I'm rushing this video out. I gotta go to my appointment. And bro, my phone is dying. I was like, girl, why would you do this? But I was like, I need to get this off before I leave so I can listen to it on my way to the appointment. But I remember that I was like, a lot of it was very much in passing. It was like the one or two conversations, and then that was it. And it was kind of like you're on your own. Like I distinctly remember being in my freshman year. It was like the summer going into my freshman year, and I was very nervous about transitioning from middle school to high school. I was going from eighth grade to ninth grade. And I remember that whole summer I was acting so weird because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have hormones. Like I started having like little flutterings and things like that. And I was just like so angsty. I was like, what about guys? What about sex? Like, your friends is grown. They telling you stuff. Not even grown. Your friends be telling you the tea. They be telling you what's going on with them and their partner and things like that. And you be wanting to emulate. And your friend group definitely dictates your worldview and like how you move in, those social circles and environments. And I remember my parents sat down with me and they were just kind of like, you're going to have sex. Don't bring no baby home. They were like, if you do have sex, just be careful. That was kind of it. Like, that was the gist of it from what I remember. And I was just like, oh, like, didn't teach me about STDs, didn't teach me about obviously pregnancy, but like, didn't explain like, okay, there's preventative measures you can take. Like, I think I knew about birth control and maybe it was mentioned again, very briefly, very in passing. Just like, I don't know. It was just very weird. Like, instead of telling me, hey, maybe you should try to find someone you really like, and it would be better if were intimate with them because at least you have some rapport with them versus just going out everywhere. A lot of Black parents, they have a shame around their like family name being like sullied or their reputation being so like, don't bring no baby home, don't get pregnant, like, because you're going to be like the social pariah, you're going to be like the outcast, but never really explaining why that's a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing to them to be a teenage parent or to be a teenage mom, and how that will reflect on them, but also you, like how And also the scrutiny that comes with that. It's very adult to be carrying a child when you're still a child yourself, you know? And not shitting on anybody that was a teen parent, but I'm just saying, but even dating, like I was like, I wish, I told my friend Agnes, I was like, I wish I knew about dating green flags. I wish I knew about dating red flags, how to spot an abuser, how to spot a predator, how to spot a narcissist. I was like, that would have been so great. And like knowing when to walk away from a situation if it doesn't feel right to me, if it doesn't serve me, if the person is dimming my light, if they're minimizing me in any way, gaslighting me. Because I think a lot of women have dealt with like a gaslighter or a narc in some form or fashion, at least once. I feel like a lot of us have dealt with once, and then one at least in our lifetime, and then we deal with the one and we're like, all right. And then sometimes we might run into multiple and it's just like, ah. But narcissists prey on people who don't know any better. They prey on the innocent. They prey on people with a pure soul. They prey on people with good energy, and they have a light because there's a darkness in them that they're trying to illuminate or run from. But I wish I knew about, like, they kind of touched on like, oh, you know, he should hold the door open for you, like those sorts of things. But I feel like that's very superficial and very base level. Like that's a standard, like that's a bare minimum standard to me. I mean, stuff like, you know, doing the things in the beginning of the relationship that you're doing, like sustaining those, showing effort, compromising, communication style, reciprocity, real, you know, something I wish I had known, realizing that not everybody grows up the same way that you have. Like my husband is basically zero trauma. I don't want to sit here and say he doesn't have any, but as far as like from his childhood, realistically, he doesn't really have any. I think he's had trauma maybe like in a relationship or two, something like that. But that, I feel like that everyone is like that, not to minimize what he went through because he went through some shit. But in terms of like in the house, like if you grow up one way and someone grows up another, your traumas are gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't really get that talk. And then it's also like knowing how to stand up for yourself, knowing how to be assertive, knowing how to have boundaries, knowing your self-worth, knowing how to love yourself instead of relying on the love that someone's giving you to fuel you or to pour into you. I think that's another one. And I also think a lot of girls, we're like very naive. We're like lambs. Like we're lambs, innocent lambs up for slaughter. I definitely feel like we don't know what we're doing. You know, like your first kiss, you know, holding hands, your first date. And then a lot of it is don't bring no baby home. Then it was like you couldn't date. I don't think I could date till I was 16. Me and my husband have talked about this. I think the consensus kind of varies sometimes. But I was like, I don't know if I really want to put a set age, like, oh, you can't date. Like, I was definitely dating before I was 16, and my parents fucking knew, but like they were really strict about it for a long time. I actually had my first like real boyfriend, like middle school and all that stuff aside. Because you know, you have one or two in middle school or whatever, or a couple or whatever. My first boyfriend was when I was 15, and his name was Justice, and he was so sweet. He was this mixed kid. He was a soccer player, had good grades, came from a great family. His mom was Mexican and his dad was black. His dad was in the military. Very good guy, like sweetheart. And I didn't know how to appreciate him, and I didn't know how to perceive him because I was in my own darkness and the shit that I had going on at home. And I was kind of a loner too. I really didn't talk. I really didn't fuck with too many people at that time. So it was just like, I don't know what he saw me, but I think almost similar to my husband, I think he saw me past my trauma. I think he was like, I think she's a good girl. I think she's just got some scars. And I think that's another thing. When you have like your own wounds or some things that like your Achilles heel, it can be kind of hard to be compatible or mesh with people that may not struggle in that way. And I think there's a lot of worthiness. I didn't feel like I was worthy of Justice. And I think that's why I kind of treated him as bad as I did towards the end of our relationship. I was very cold and distant. And I think I would stonewall a lot because I had learned that from my dad. And I very much picked up on the mentality of, you do the playing, you don't get played. That was my mentality. I definitely picked that up from my dad. I definitely feel like I was more my dad's child when I was growing up. Like I definitely have some of my mom in me, my birth mom in me, but I think I moved according to how my dad was. Like play chess, not checkers. Like it was always like, don't get God, you do the getting. You know what I'm saying? Like I could reel someone in, but I think another thing we didn't touch on a lot growing up is like maintaining a relationship and maintaining a connection. It's very easy to attract someone, super duper easy. It's really staying together that was the other part. I think I pretty much every guy I dated before my husband, I did not stay with very long. I was a runner, baby. Like I'm a runner, I'm a track star. Like that was me because I was like, I don't want to be dumped. I don't want to be made a fool of. I don't want to be embarrassed. Don't have me out here looking stupid because my dad, I literally would watch him the way he moved with women, and I was like, I do not want to be like. I felt like I was a guy. I was like a ninja, like for real, because I knew how these guys was out here operating, and all my friends were guys, so they was telling me what they was doing. I was like, yeah, you not finna get me, like. But it was so bad because I feel like I disregarded a lot of my boyfriend's feelings. I feel like I kind of dogged them out, like, oh, I don't care. Like, oh, I remember one time. Oh my god, one of my boyfriends, I think I was in, was it junior year? I think I was like 16 and I started dating this guy. Shout out to him. Oh, should I say his name? I won't say his last name. Shout out to Darius. I hope he's doing well. This man had a lot of shit happen to him, so I really genuinely hope he's doing well. I know I'm married and stuff, but still. But I remember when we broke up because I felt like he was a little clingy. I think you know what it was? I had fear of commitment. I was like a commitment phobe or had commitment phobia, like real bad. Like I would get in a commitment, but then I would feel like locked down or chained. Like I used to say, oh, I felt like a dog. Like that song Mutt by Leon Thomas. I don't think I've ever heard the whole song. I've just heard snippets. But I remember, hold on, going back to Justice. That was my first high school boyfriend. Like first real boyfriend, like going out. My parents knew I was going out with him, met his parents, that type of thing. I remember he had gotten me this really cute necklace. It was like a little metal choker. It wasn't like it had like a kind of, you know how like bangles are, like they have that cinching. It kind of was like that, and it had like a little like a pendant on it. It was like a silver little pendant. It was so cute, and he got it for me, and I felt like, no, was it that one? It might have been a different necklace. He got me some piece of jewelry or something as like a little anniversary gift. You know, kids are dumb. Like, oh, 1 month in, we're good. And I remember, or 1 month in, we get little presents. You know, kids are dumb. We do an anniversary for everything. But I remember he got me this really sweet gift and like got me some other stuff, and I felt like chained. Like I felt like he owned me. I was like, I remember telling one of my friends, I was like, I feel like a dog. Like I feel like he's putting a leash on me. But I was like, he's not putting a leash on me. He likes you and he wants to show you off. Like, but I couldn't fathom that. I was just like, oh my God. And even with him, I broke up with him while this man was suspended. He got in a fight with one of his teammates because he was like the captain of the soccer team or something like that. This guy on his team was in my class, and the guy was like a twin. So I was like, which one he about to fight? Because there's two of them. But Jose and Jesus, I think is their names. Ooh, I'm airing all my tea. But I remember he got in a fight with one of them, and I was like, who got in a fight? I was like, Justice? I was like, he's like the nicest fucking guy. But he was like, yeah, he was talking crazy about you. So I had to put them paws on him. And I was like, I should have been like, oh, but instead I broke up with this man while he was suspended. Cause I was so afraid. Like I just had that fear, like he's gonna break up with me, he's gonna see right through me, I'm not worthy. Like all this negative self-talk. I think if I had more self-worth and I had a better sense of self and self-esteem, I would have been able to appreciate him more, and we probably would have lasted longer. Because Justice was very much like a commitment guy. Like even after we broke up, he was like we would talk and like kind of start talking about like maybe getting back together, and then you know me, squirrel. But no, I just felt like people couldn't keep my interest on, but it was like, it was me. I was running away from myself, but I was like, I was taking people down with me, and that wasn't cool. I literally like apologized to all my exes because I was like, bro, I was trash when I was younger, and I knew I was trash. But my dad had this mentality, like this tough guy, like don't let people in. Like it was like weird. He would be committed, but then it was just like he would show only so much. And I learned that from my dad because I was like, I don't want to be played, and I was like, I don't want to be cheated on, because my dad, he was outside. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And I was like, I don't want that experience because I saw what he was doing to other women, and I was like, I'll be damned if somebody does that to me. But anyway, let me go back to my other ex, Darius. He was like my next like serious boyfriend. I remember we broke up because I thought he was too clingy. Now, in retrospect, I do think he was clingy, but I think he just really liked me. But it was too much for me. Like Justice was like, he had like a nice little easygoing like vibe with him. Like he wasn't too much, like he was like just enough affectionate, but I don't think I realized that. But Darius like took it to a whole other level. Like I remember one time he wanted to hang out, and I was like, no. So then he was like texting all my friends trying to give me a ride so he could come see me because I didn't have a car. And I was like, but bro, I told you no. Like he always wanted to be up my ass. And I was like, bro, I like you, but like I need space. Like, and he was very sweet and romantic, but I kind of wonder if he was codependent too. And he had some stuff happen at home, like, a parent wasn't, in the household and things like that. So I definitely think that creates a deficit. When you don't have that structure and that leader in your family, I think it definitely takes a toll. And again, like me, I think me and Darius were together because we were both codependent, and we were looking for something that we didn't get at home, like within the four walls of the home. I think that's really what it was. I think it's like an emptiness, or there's a void and you try to fill it with other people, but you can't really do that. You can't use other people like that. It's fucked up. But I remember I broke up with him, and I remember I was hanging out with my friends because like when we would get to school, our high school, we would like have to stand outside for a little bit before they opened the doors, like 20-30 minutes. So I would just be with my boys. My brother's friends were basically my friends, so I had like all guy friends, and there was like these stairs. So Darius was like on the stairs, he's just like, and this man is crying, and I was laughing. I was like, oh, I don't care. Like, I was just very dismissive, like very nonchalant. And I was like, now in retrospect, that's not funny that he was crying. Like, he was crying because he was hurt. Like, he had a response because he wanted to stay with me. And I just was like, and I think even when I broke up with him, he was like, I'm willing to work it out or whatever. And I was like, no. Like, it was just like people were disposable to me. And that's not a good way to treat people. But I didn't know any better. I think if I had learned what, like, I don't think either too, like I had healthy examples of what a relationship should look like. And I think that that was a key part of it. And I think I saw a lot of fractured commitments. And I think I didn't see a lot of traditional dating. There was just very odd and crazy extenuating circumstances. I think there were some good times and some things that I was like, oh, I kind of like that. I would do that. But I don't remember being like, oh, I want this relationship, or oh, I want what these people have. I feel like a lot of it I got from like media or the internet or like my friends and stuff, not really like people that I actually knew like in real life, like adults that are supposed to be in commitments and things like that. Like I wish I had like, I don't know. I don't want to say that my parents' marriage was like all horrible or anything like that. But just towards the end, it got so chaotic, it got so loud, it got so messy and traumatizing that I was like, I don't really want to get married. Like even before that, I was like, I don't know how I feel about marriage. Because all my friends were like basically divorced. And I thought I was a lucky one because I was like, my parents are still together, like it's lit over here. But then I was like, my parents are just as fucked up as anybody else's. So I was like, oh, they just hit it better. Like, that's another thing. I think we tend to idolize relationships in the Black community outward, like the outward facing or the public persona of it, but then we don't know the interior. And that's, I think, something that I learned. So I was like, what's all that glitters is not gold. So what looks good to you may not be good behind closed doors. They might be beating each other's ass, they might be cheating, they might be like, I saw all types of stuff. So it just made me very wary and like hesitant and very guarded. I was very guarded. I didn't know how to let my guard down. I didn't know how to be vulnerable because I really didn't see that a whole lot at home. And like I said, I was very close. I was much closer to my dad than I was my mom. I don't really feel like did I talk to my mom about boys? I probably did, but I don't really remember. I don't really remember. I think I talked more to my dad about dating, which is ironic, which maybe not because girls tend to be closer to their dads, but I know there's some girls that are close with their moms, but I feel like a woman should be teaching her daughter how to show up in a relationship, how to be soft, how to lean into her femininity. And I don't think I really learned how to do that. Not to blame anybody, but I don't recall learning, not to say I haven't. I feel like there might have been certain things that might have rubbed off, but I don't know. Like I really didn't have a true idea or a true definition. So that was pretty challenging. And then even my parents' friendships, like their relationships and marriages, full of chaos, full of toxicity, having outside babies, cheating, beating asses. Like it was just all types of, even like family, friends, relatives and stuff. I never really saw like, I remember one of my grandmothers, I'm not going to say which one, she had a long-term boyfriend for like 25 years, and he was like a cokehead. I had no idea. I found out when I got older. I felt so scammed because I was like, I remember this guy. He was over our house. Like he probably could have stole our TV like Snowfall or something. Even some of my aunts and uncles dating people 10, 15, 20 years not married. So I was like, what reason do I have to get married? And then a few of my uncles like had 6, 7, 8 kids by multiple women. I was like, nope, I'm good. Like, I was like, I'm not interested. So I just saw I didn't see anything that I wanted to mirror, that I could look up to. I really don't think I saw it till I got adopted, if I'm being real with you. And even maybe before that. But like there's long-term marriages in my adopted family. Like 2 of my aunts have been married like 20 years, have like their own kids, and they're real with me. They're like, marriage is hard. It's not easy. I've seen points where like they might have almost split up with like my uncles. Like it gets really real. Like marriage is really fucking hard. But for a long time, I did not want to get married. And then intimacy was like the other part. Like it was just like, don't get pregnant, don't have sex. But then it's like, well, where's your boyfriend? Where's your husband? Where's your fiance? How come you don't have a man? And it's like, but you told me all this time not to. You told me not to date. And my parents were so strict about the 16 rule. Like Justice was an exception to the rule because I think my parents saw how much I liked him. And then my mom met his mom. Like I was telling them just enough to be like, okay, like I really like him and I want to see where this goes. And he went to my school, so it was like they could kind of scope it out for what it was. Like more so my mom, because I lived full time with her at that time. But yeah, I don't know. Even sex, I was just like afraid to have sex. Like if I'm being honest with you, because I was like, baby, I'm not trying to get pregnant. Like the fear was so drilled into me. And I had one friend. She was so sweet, Mia. She was a teen mom. She transferred from another school. I didn't know she was pregnant. And then I remember we were about to go on like spring break. It was a break for something, like spring break, winter break or something. I remember we was passing a note in class, and she liked this guy in our class, and I was like, hey, what's tea with that? Are y'all going out? And she's like, we kissed or whatever, whoop de woo. And I was like, so what's the tea? Why y'all not together? And she was like, because I'm pregnant. And I remember I looked at her stomach. Sure enough, she was like 6, 7 months pregnant, but she was so tiny you couldn't see it. And I remember how much shame she got for that. Like, she would get kicked out of class for eating. People would stare at her. They would talk shit about her, whisper about her. She held her head so high. Beautiful girl, chocolate, dark chocolate, smart, sexy, cool. Like, she was my home girl. Like, even on Facebook, I'd be all in her business, all in her comments, because she was like she was a real ass bitch, but she was like a real ass friend. But I remember seeing that. I remember one time we were in fashion design class and she got kicked out for eating fucking yogurt. I was like, bitch, she's pregnant. But I think the teacher was chastising her because she was a teen mom to be. And I was just like, damn, that's kind of cold. But I just remember being like, I do not want to get pregnant. I saw so many girls in my grade get pregnant. And I was like, bro, or like they would be here in the summer, gone, and then they pop up. And it's like, oh my God. Like, I was terrified. Cause like I think girls are slut shamed. They're like, don't get pregnant because you're gonna be a slut, and then that's gonna fall on like me as your dad or head of household or like the family man, the patriarch of the family. So I think that just made me be like, nope. I didn't like, to be honest with you, I really didn't try anything till I was probably like with someone else, probably 17, like 16, 17. And I think that's kind of late because a lot of kids start earlier. But even then, like I waited, I won't tell you what age, but I waited till after high school because I was like, I don't want to get pregnant. Like that, I was terrified because I was like, my parents are going to kick my ass. Like I'm gonna be done. Like I'm gonna get my ass beat. My baby's gonna get her or his ass beat. Like I just wasn't into it. But then with guys, it's like, oh yeah, like you knocked that notch off your belt. Like it's very yin and yang with girls and boys when it comes to like intimacy and dating. But I wished I had known what I know now. I wished I had more deal breakers, and I wished I listened to my intuition. I think that's another thing I really want to teach my daughter. I want to teach my son and my daughter about dating, green flags and red flags, how to walk away, but also self-worth, because I think a lot of the times people stay in bad relationships or toxic relationships because they don't know their self-worth and they don't think that they're capable of getting any better, and someone can break them down psychologically and mentally, so then they don't have anything else. Actually, that kind of made me think of someone that I used to work with, and she was a little bit older than me. But I thought about, actually, I saw a picture of her on Facebook yesterday, and I was thinking about her, and I was like, if only she knew how worthy she was. She like never thinks she's pretty. She never thinks she's good enough. And I was like, you are so all that in a bag of chips. Like I used to hype her up all the time. Like I literally had like a girl crush on her because she had like a naturally pretty face. She had freckles, black woman. She had like, I'm not gonna say how many kids she had, but she had some issues in the relationship department. But I always try to speak life into her, and I would always try to big up her. But it was like she couldn't see that because a man had broken her down. Her ex was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive. But sorry, I'm turning off my laptop. But I just was thinking about her, and she's always posting, and I think it's like because she always wants validation, and it's like my therapist used to say, my old therapist, he used to be like, 80% of validation should come from internal, and then the rest should come from external. And I think that's the thing, we have to realize that other people can't give us our worth. Other people can't dictate what we are or are not good for. They can't dictate our value. We have to dictate that. And I think that's some of the principles that we need to teach these younger generations. Because really, a person can't fill you up. Like that person can be there, but you might not even be able to receive the love or honor it or reciprocate it. And a lot of us are not raised on love. We're raised on survival. We're raised on trauma. We're raised with a very fear-based system or line of thinking or parenting style. So a lot of us don't even really know how to be soft. We don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how to, like, sometimes I still feel scared with my husband. I'm like, bro, this is the 8th year we've been together, which isn't long, but it's long. That's long for me. And that's what I meant earlier. Like all my relationships were probably just months long, like a month here, 2 months there, 3 months. I think I used to count down how long I was with people because I was like, this is the longest I've been with someone. Then I would break up, and I would break up with people for any little thing because I just like didn't have tolerance. And I think that's another thing. I didn't have tolerance for other people, and realizing there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can still achieve the same goal within a relationship and the other person do it completely different. Did it get done to your liking? No, but did it get done? Yes. I didn't know how to work with other people and like really share and like commune with them. But I also didn't know how to hold space for them because I wanted them to be exactly how I wanted them to be, kind of similar how I was raised. Like, you have to be perfect, you have to fit this model, you have to fit this template, but it's not really realistic. You can't really change someone else, they have to change themselves. And I think I was very rigid in my thinking and my belief system. But yeah, like I remember my last boyfriend that I remember, in high school. I think I was like 16 turning 17. He was like one of my closest friends. And that was another problem I had. I had no boundaries with my male friendships. I'll be friends with a guy, and just because I was friends with them, we would try to date. And it would never work. Ever, ever, ever. I've tried this like 3, 4 times. And it would never work because it was like we shouldn't have crossed that line. We should have had boundaries. We should have just remained friends. Or if we were going to do this, we should have really committed. And there wouldn't have been so much confusion and chaos. I literally tried like probably 3 or 4 times throughout high school. I can name 3 guys right now that I was like, oh, I think I like, and we would try, and it just never felt right. It never felt authentic. Love or a connection should not be forced. And the thing is, sometimes a friendship is the basis of a relationship. Don't get me wrong, but those relationships should have just stayed friendships. Because when I tried to go outside of that boundary or that line, or even when they tried to go outside of it, it never felt the same. Even when I got older, that was another pattern I had. That's another thing, dating patterns, like things to look out for, being aware of. Even when I got older, it was the same thing. I'll be friends with a guy, and then he would like want to take it past a certain point. I'd be like, okay, because I really wasn't having any options or anything like that. I think a lot of it was boredom. I was dating out of boredom and loneliness. And that's not really a good place to date from. You need to date with intention. As my boss used to say, or my old boss used to say, she was like, there's a lot of desperate spirits around me. She was like, you can't do things from the spirit of desperation. And she's exactly right. And that definitely applies to dating or anything that you're doing in your life. But yeah, girl, like it was really, really bad. But I remember the last guy that I dated in high school, it was like for 3 months, and I thought that was like 5 years. Like I was like, oh my God, yes, I can last in a relationship. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was literally cursed or damaged because I could not last in a relationship. And then I had this weird thing of like spinning the block. That's why I don't believe in spinning the block, because every time you go back, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Because whatever issues you had from before exacerbated. I don't think that you should spin the block, only because a lot of the times you can never forgive or work through the issues that broke you up to begin with in the first place. And it grows arms, feet, and legs. And the thing is, you guys broke up for a reason. It didn't work out for a reason. When I met Nick, I was shocked. I actually tried to break up with him like 2 or 3 times in the beginning. If I literally pulled him on camera right now, he would tell you. I'm telling you right now, like, because I was definitely afraid of commitment. I thought I couldn't do it. I just thought something was wrong with me, but I don't think I had met the right person. But I also had a lot of inner work to do, and I don't think I took people too seriously. It was just like, okay, I'm talking to this guy. Like, it was just like something to kill the time. But I'm like, their feelings matter too. And they might have really felt a connection or something for me. And I think a lot of it was infatuation. That's another problem. Like, I was very infatuated with people instead of like actually liking them. I think infatuation is really rooted in lust, and it's rooted in, again, loneliness, boredom, codependency, all the things that are empty or missing or lacking, and you show up through this, the vehicle of infatuation. And I think that's a horrible place to date from. Like, everyone you date is not going to be for love. Like, it just is what it is. I think people come in lessons, and I think I was definitely lessons for some of these guys. I can't sit up and shit on them and blame them, like, because I know I was part of the problem too. But I feel like if I had learned, I would have known better. Like, if I had really had like deep, well thought out conversations with my parents, not to say that they didn't do their job, but I want to be so honest and transparent with our kids. Like, I probably won't tell them everything right up front, but I want them to ask probing questions. I want to like really lay it out so that they're going with their eyes aware, and that they really know their worth. Worth is so important when you're dating. If you don't know your worth, you're going to put up with a lot of bullshit. And then you're going to like drain yourself. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to dim your light. You're going to age. It's going to manifest in your body when you're not with the right person. And I've seen people stay in shitty situations and they look rough because they're going through it. Their spirit is tired. Their physical being is tired. That person is sucking the life out of them. Vampire energy, vampires, leeches, whatever you want to call it. Like, can't do it. But when I got with my husband, it just clicked into place with me. I feel like I met him with my trauma. Like, my trauma was my representative. At first it was like, oh, I'm in love. And then my trauma would come out, and it was like, but he's like actually like mad cool. I was like, if you get mad at him and you argue with him, now you can't talk to him. So now you don't want to talk to your best friend because what? Like, your trauma, or you think he did something, or you misinterpret it. Like, it's really not that deep. But now we just be kikiing. I swear, like, after we got engaged, like, the fights like calmed down so much. Like, we're human, we still get into it or whatever, but we actually mad cool. We be on the same page, same accord. And like, I think one thing I want to say is you need to be on the same accord when you're dating. I think with that, I mean, you can have different personalities, different likes, interests, and things like that, and passions and hobbies. But as my old therapist used to say, your core values need to align. Do you value family, hard work, discipline, sacrifice? Certain things, those core values that dictate your identity and your how you move in the world and how you show up in the world, how you show up for the people around you. That is really key. You can be night and day as far as personality, but if those things gel, you really can have a really solid foundation. And people immediately uh you know, people want to go to the honeymoon phase, like rush to that, but they want to stay in that, not realizing it takes hard work. And you have to choose that person. You have to choose that person even when they piss you off, even when you're mad, even when, you know, shit is going left. Like, you have to really make an active choice. And that's, you know, something I didn't learn either. Like, I didn't know that I had to make a choice to continue being with them. I just thought, okay, I get in a relationship, I'm fine. Like, you know, and I think at some points I was kind of like obsessed with certain people when I think I was very obsessed and infatuated driven. Like I said, I was very codependent when I first started dating, like in middle school, like 12, 13. Like, I just thought, okay, I have a boyfriend, like he's supposed to be my whole world, I'm supposed to center my universe around him. But it's like, you also need to have your own identity, you need to have your own interests. You can do things together and build together and nest together, but you can also have your own things so that you can nurture yourself, and that you can, in turn, you'll be better to yourself, and in turn you'll be better to them and your kids or whoever. But that's kind of all I wanted to say. Her I didn't really get to all her commentary, but her commentary was so good. I'll have to see if maybe I can post a link. I don't know if I can or not in the comments, but it really made me think. And I was just like, I don't really remember much. Like, I know my parents talked to me about it, but it's not sticking out to me. I was like, if I had known certain things, I probably would have moved differently, and I probably would have not put myself in harm's way when it came to dating and basically being bait for certain types of personalities, especially narcissists. Narcissists love naive people, they love innocent people, they love people who have a light or a glow to them because they're attracted to that. It's like a moth to a flame. But you got to be very careful and think, how does someone make you feel? How does your body respond to them? How does your mind or your heart respond to them? That will be an indicator. If you can't vocalize or articulate that, usually your body will tell you if you're in danger or not. But anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.